Hi guys, thank you for stopping by to share with Julie today. I hope you're having a fantabulous day today, guys. And in this video, I am addressing vitamin B12. I've spoken about vitamin B12 before in another video. And this video, I wanted to give some other perspective because, now there's a talk about vitamin B12. People are feeling scared and feeling they only could get vitamin B12 from animal products, or they must be supplementing, and they're wondering, is it worth it to pursue a plant-based diet? Because a plant-based diet is supposedly inefficient, because if you go to a plant-based diet, you're supposed to be supplementing, or you at some point down the road your health is going to decline so rapidly, you have to go back to animal products, and so it goes. And we have heard the same kinds of stories as it pertains to protein. There was a time when you say you're plant-based, people would ask, where do you get your protein? Now it seems like protein has taken a backseat to vitamin B12. It's what about vitamin B12? And the reality is that there's always going to be something. Vitamin B12 today, protein yesterday, tomorrow there will likely be something else. And I personally don't supplement vitamin B12. I don't have any intention of supplementing vitamin B12. Having said that, I am not telling you to supplement or not to supplement, because I know some people will, say, oh, you're trying to tell people to not supplement and put them in danger and all that. Personally, I do not. Yes, so in this is a compilation video of a number of different perspectives, because I gave you my perspective and I wanted you to hear what some others have to say. So I have Dr. Sebi in this clip. Most of you who follow my channel will already know who Dr. Sebi is. And you get Dr. Sebi's perspective on vitamin. I also have Dr. Milton Mills, and he speaks specifically in this clip about vitamin B12. Also Dr. Michael Klaper speaking on B12 also. Both of these gentlemen will give a simple explanation of what vitamin B12 is about, and reinforcing what I am trying to get people to understand, that you don't need to be consuming animal products to get vitamin B12. And then there is Dr. Robert Morse, and there's a compilation of Dr. Robert Morse speaking on addressing vitamin B12, because he was asked about it numerous times. And so I found this video that had a compilation of the different times that he addressed the issue when asked. And so I thought it was just perfect to add to this video. And his perspective is more in line with Dr. Sebi's perspective, and in terms of the fact that we need to focus on fixing the body, not necessarily supplementing. And so let's hear what these gentlemen have to say as it pertains to the whole vitamin B12 argument.
If man could make a substance in a laboratory, such as a vitamin B, vitamin B, C, vitamin B12, inositol, zinc, all this stuff. Hey, look, just a minute. How could you make in a laboratory a substance that would help me biologically or physiologically? If you could do that, and if you could really do that, then you're God. Only nature of God makes something electrical. No man could do that. I'm going to give a simple example. On the planet, minerals are expressed in two forms. One phosphate, one oxide. Meaning what? There are 142 minerals. We begin with gold, silver, opium, iron, phosphorus, iron, magnesium. They come in the form of a rock. 142 different minerals in the planet. They come in the form of a rock. But that rock also have a plant that is representative of that mineral. The plant contains gold. Gold? You may ask, well, why should it be so difficult for you to understand that? Don't you take burdock for iron? And what's the difference with iron and gold? They're both are minerals. But now you have them in a plant form. Why a plant form? Because the plant, in sending its root into the soil, it converts that solid rock into a liquid digestible substance. The scientists call that process of conversion iontrophoresis. Iontrophoresis could only be accomplished by a plant, not a laboratory. You can't take a piece of rock that is iron into a laboratory and get a liquid from it that's going to be digestible, because now it becomes non-electrical. The plant makes it electrical. And when you drink it, it is pre-digested for you electrically, so that no one snow you. The minerals that the body needs cannot be found in any health food store. No vitamin C, vitamin B, vitamin A. The body is not made up of any alphabetical order. It is made up of minerals. And when those minerals have been depleted by the presence of disease, a disease ensues. So you have to replace them in a natural form, in the form of a rock or a plant. A plant, because it is alive and it is electrical. Why does it have to be electrical? Because the body is electrical. How could you feed an electric body dead food? You just can't do that. That's not consistency.
Yeah, next to what about your protein, they say, well, what about B12? Well, what about it? I mean, what about cancer? What about heart disease? What about autoimmune disease? What about diabetes? I mean, it's like you want to bring up B12. Our bodies only need like 1 microgram of B12 a day, the equivalent of that. Well, number one, the first thing that people need to understand, B12 is only made by bacteria. No plant, no animal makes B12. If you find B12 in animal tissues, it's because it's gotten it from a bacterial source ultimately. Well, if we were living in more natural environments, drinking unprocessed water and eating foods that we dug up out of the ground, because that food would have bacteria on it, it would have B12. There would be B12 in the water. But what do? We take our water and we process it, and we throw chlorine in it, we kill all the bacteria. We have eliminated the natural sources of B12 in our environment. So that's why we have to take it. It's kind of similar to the calciferol issue. Because we're always covered up and indoors, we can't make enough of our own calciferol, so we have to take a supplement. Well, because we've eliminated our exposure to bacteria, we have to take the supplement. But that has nothing to do with a problem with plant-based diet. That's an artifact of the way we live.
Molecule is absolutely essential to keep our brain healthy, our nerves healthy, our blood healthy. It's an absolutely essential nutrient. And yes, it's found in the flesh of animals, but animals don't make it. Cows don't make B12, chickens, pigs, no animal makes vitamin B12. Vitamin B12 is made by bacteria that live in the soil. And these grazing animals are pulling up clumps of grass all day, and clinging to the roots of the grass are soil particles in which these B12 producing bacteria live. And the cow and the pig and the chicken and the goose swallow the B12 producing bacteria, and they produce B12 in the lumen in the gut of the animal, which is absorbed and winds up in the cow's muscle or the pig's muscle. And yes, you can kill the cow and kill the pig and strip the flesh off their bones and get your vitamin B12 that way. But again, you're just using the animal flesh as a vitamin tablet. The animal did not make it. Well, where do we humans fit into this? Well, the truth is that since the beginning of humans on this planet, we got our vitamin B12 the same place the cows and the deer and the antelope and the buffalo get their vitamin B12. We used to spend our days foraging, and we would pull up roots and tubers, and we might knock it on our leg once, but we would eat it, so we wouldn't wash it in chlorinated drinking water. And as we ate the unwashed vegetables, those same soil bacteria would enter our intestine, and we would get our vitamin B12 produced that way. Vitamin B12 washes into the streams in the natural world with every rainstorm, and we ancient humans, when we got thirsty, we found the nearest stream, and we then dropped down next to it, and we drank stream water, and we would get vitamin B12 that way. So when we were living earth-connected lives, we humans, vitamin B12 was flowing through our digestive system and through our tissues the same way that it flows through the systems of the deer, the antelope, and the grazing animals. Well, welcome to the 21st century. Nobody's eating unwashed vegetables. They're all washed in chlorinated rinse water nowadays. Why is the chlorine added? To kill bacteria. Nobody's drinking out of streams anymore. You turn on your tap, and what comes out of the tap? Well, water that's been treated at the municipal drinking water plant with chlorine to kill bacteria. And because of modern sanitation, vitamin B12 has disappeared from the diet of those people nourishing themselves exclusively on plant-based foods.
It's some vitamins and some components are a byproduct of metabolism of other factors, and that's what B12 is. B12 deals with the adrenal glands and cobalt and the like. If you're feeling fatigued and you're blaming B12, go to your adrenal glands and fix them, and you won't have a deficiency. So fix the adrenal glands, no B12. People like to take it. Now, my B12 went low when I started going raw over a year ago. This is when I started getting the foggy head, also depressed moods. That's because you lack the neurotransmitters. That's because you stopped neurotransmitter consumption, and therefore you saw the downing of the adrenal glands. The adrenals just crashed on you, and therefore you saw the B12s, you saw the fog, all this stuff. It isn't B12 supports all that. It's just that you dumped your adrenals, which is common. When you come off of meat, your adrenals are going to dump, because you're not taking epinephrine anymore. So you're going to dump, and you're going to feel fatigued. I have people coming in here all the time saying, I got to have meat, I have any energy, I have to have meat for energy. Well, you must understand that the body does not use protein for energy. And if it did, you're in trouble. Another question about B12 there, RTDIOTI. Yeah, I mean, this is the problem with vitamin B12. You have a varied amount of opinions of foods that have it in it, foods that don't, and I just don't waste my time with that stupidity, because you never see a raw food is deficient in anything, especially when you move the lymph, get the adrenals up, kidneys filtering. Nobody deficient, nobody has symptoms, nobody lacks vitality. Matter of fact, it's the opposite. You get your lymph system clean, your adrenals up, and everybody healthy, the energy is beyond what most people can handle. This is another B12 question referencing low cobalt in the soils, but you've got to consider the adrenal glands, because the amount that we need of nutrients is so small, it's not even funny. And if you get more above the ground into fruitarianism, then it'll even freak you out more if you try to apply what you think of the laws that we need minerals. You know, we have a certain level in natural health where minerals are the cat's meow. I don't believe that B12 shots, none of my clients ever get these things and never have problems, and I don't believe in doing things like that. Get your adrenals back in the state of health. That's where B12 is dealt with. Someone is asking about B12 too, and I want to say this, that B12 suppresses the parathyroid gland. and that's why taking it can be dangerous. When everything's naturally occurring in the body, chemistry is transmutating from one constituent to another. It's always done as needed. When we start supplementing, then we're we're bringing into the body, levels that the body then again, as we talked about in previous videos, where chemistry becomes antagonistic to other chemistry, and that's the biggest worry I have, is creating antagonistic chemistry in you, and that's kind of what you have to be careful with.
And you notice that you see low B12s, low Ds, and low iron with weak adrenals. Do you ever notice that? You'll see that every time. Work on your adrenals. You might see something interesting. Also clean out your liver and gallbladder too. And I think you'll see a change in that.
B12s, that's a byproduct that comes out of the adrenal glands. You see people on raw foods here where their B12 is skyrocketing. You see, this idea of needing meat for B12 is ridiculous. That's the biggest war there is out there, and I've talked a great deal about it. I'm not going to say any more about B12. Someone has got some B12 questions again. So I started to have vision problems taking B12 shots. I've hit this B12 and vitamin D until I'm blue in the face, honey. So it's enough to say I don't buy into any of that. And this is another question about B12. Please forget about B12. Get your adrenals up. Your B12 will be okay. Never had anybody worry about B12. So, forget about it. You're not going to die without supplementing it. Half the people would have been dead. All right? Nutritional yeast, don't recommend it at all. We already have too much fungus in it. Drop that yeast thinking. No nutritional yeast, brewer's yeast, forget all that crap.
I don't consider B12 a vitamin. It's a co-vitamin. You get a lot of vitamins on journeys of bacterium and in journeys of metabolism. So I look at the B12 as a cofactor related to the adrenal glands. And it's in all, you have the research that shows it's in vegetables, but if it's in fruits and vegetables, then it is a true vitamin. And I see it as a co-vitamin, cobalt derivative.
Also, people have told me that we have to eat meat because of the B12. Here's that B12 crap again. I can tell you can go back and forth the B12 thing. You have those that say it's fruits and vegetables. Now, B12 to me is a cofactor. It isn't an actual vitamin that you get in foods. It is a byproduct of metabolism. So, again, I don't even play in that world. I don't even go there because it's not even worth it. My client, I see tons and tons of blood work here. And when you're detoxing on a good diet, your adrenals are working and metabolizing properly, your B12s will be proper. Animals don't worry about B12. They don't worry about B12. No one worries about B12 that's healthy. It's just another thing. Oh, I'm low in energy. You need to pump it up with B12. I'm low in energy. Don't take any responsibility for your diet or your weak adrenals or any of the physiology that's connected to this. Just look at the supplements and what we can shoot or take and make us have more energy. And this is our problem. We've got to get out of this treatment-based thinking mentality. It serves no one well except those that make money off of it. I came across B12 deficiency, and I could relate with almost all the symptoms. Yeah, because every symptom in the world is related to B12. Please go past that. Your problem is in the adrenals, which is where the cofactor of B12 is at issue. Your adrenals, think of B12, think adrenals. Not meat and vegetables. Think of adrenal glands. Same thing with low iron levels and everything else. Go to the adrenal glands. This is where all these issues are dealt with, or created, I will say. I'm not trying to self-diagnose. Well, you should be able to self-diagnose, sweetheart. That's your job. You're allowed. You're from God. Man didn't take away your right to be able to look at yourself and self-diagnose yourself, please. But don't have anybody else diagnose you, or you could be practicing medicine without a license. You hear a lot about the B12 deficiency and all that. That's the adrenal glands. Cobalt and all that. That's the adrenal glands. People are telling me I have to take B12, seaweed, etc., etc. Well, B12, no. Get your adrenals up. You'll be fine. Seaweed, just really powerful food source. Could you touch on the B12 issue again? Well, again, if you go into B12 and you look at the adrenals and you look at the cobalt connection, you look at your vitamins and you look at your bacteria. Here's another issue too: is the bacteria in the body is vital, and all the antibiotic use and the destruction of bacteria affects the formation of vitamins that are essential as well. So the whole process is to achieve B12. To me, is messed up in the human body when you have weak adrenals. And you know, you're about this B12 thing again. I don't even focus on B12. When you're done with these programs, your body does not have a B12 deficiency. You bring up your adrenal glands. I wouldn't worry about that one little bit. I've never seen any of my clients ever worry about B12. People come in and on it, they stop it. I've never seen a problem one. I've always seen the restoration of the body's chemistry when you go for health. Dr. Morse, I have one question for you. What is your take on B12? No, I'm not going to answer that anymore. I've got so much on B12. Guys, forget B12. Throw it out the door. Forget these isolates. Throw them out the door. Focus on health and eating proper. You know, bring all the fruits and the berries and the melons for detox. You want the green drinks? Pump the green drinks. I don't recommend a superfood blend, not isolates. Take a superfood blend and you won't have any B12 problems. Fix your adrenals and you'll have no B12 problems whatsoever. Get rid of that medical consciousness and you'll do so much better there, my friend.
So there you have it, guys. An explanation of what vitamin B12 is, how you get vitamin B12, and different perspective. Dr. Michael Clapton and Dr. Milton Mills do believe in supplementing because we don't interact with nature as we ought to anymore, whereas Dr. Sebi and Dr. Robert Morse don't believe in supplementing. And so I put this to you, and you know, at the end of the day, I just want to reinforce, whenever you put any isolated chemistry in the body, it can create an issue. The body is perfectly capable of extracting the nutrients from whatever food, plant-based food that we eat, and utilizing these nutrients. When the body isn't able to do this or isn't doing it adequately, it means that we need to fix our organs. Oftentimes we change the diet, but we don't repair the damage that has already been done. When we have been eating a certain way for a long time, we are damaged. We are damaged. And yes, we might feel good initially when we change the diet, but how about spending a little bit of time on repairing the body? If you have been eating a certain way for 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 years, yes, you might change to the Dr. Sebi eating program, or you might change to some other program, you know, plant-based program, and yes, you would feel different. You would feel the difference, but the reality is that you have been damaged, and the damage should be repaired. It needs to be addressed. And whether you're using periods of fasting in combination with herbs, or doing periods of juicing, dry fasting, water fasting, you know, various methods and means of, you know, helping the body to be in a better state. And so, you know, that's just what I wanted to emphasize in this video. And I hope you found it useful. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe, and be the change you'd like to see in this world. Have a fantabulous day today. Ta-ta!